Hi, I'm Alex. If you're new here, welcome. If not, welcome back. I am a 24-year-old data analyst in the greater New York City area. Work in education policy, love reading and Disney. If any of that resonates with you, I'd love if you stuck around. As you can probably tell, we're at Barnes & Noble today. I haven't posted a book video in a little bit, I think since my 24-hour reading vlog, and I don't know, I just feel like it's time. So I know it's a little bit early for this. You're probably watching this like, Alex, it's October, Halloween hasn't even happened yet. What the heck? I agree, but if you're anything like me, or anything like not my family, but my boyfriend's family, you've already been asked what you want for the holidays this year, right? Or you're going to start getting asked probably next week. So today I thought I would take you with me into Barnes & Noble to build my book wish list for the holidays this year. So it is early, they just opened. I'm hoping that means there aren't a lot of people inside. It'll make this a little bit easier to film. We're just gonna walk around the store, we're gonna read some descriptions of books, I'm gonna pick out some things, and then later I'll make like an Amazon wish list of all of the books that I want, and I'll link it down below so you can access it easily if there's anything that you are interested in as well. So I have my Starbucks already. I was prepared. Let's go into Barnes & Noble. I'm so excited. Most of the time when I come into Barnes, I come in with specific books that I want, or just like look at the tables in the front and like grab whatever speaks to me. But I'm really trying not to do that today. So we're starting back here in YA, sci-fi, and fantasy. After reading the selection series, I just feel like maybe something else from over here will speak to me. So this is where we're starting. I have never in my life seen these, and I think I kind of want to get it for my boyfriend now. Shakespeare's Star Wars. It's like a parody of Star Wars. Well, it's a Shakespeare parody of Star Wars. This sounds good, honestly. Okay, book number 1 to add to my list. Dance of Thieves. Everybody reads this book and rates it 5 stars, so I feel like this needs to be on my wish list, right? Right. Okay, so I have another book that I would add to my list, which is Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I've never read this and I've always wanted to, but I know that my mom likes this book, and my mom and I are kind of working on a book video where I read her favorite books, so I don't know if she's going to tell me to read that or not, so I don't want to add it to my wish list just in case, but that is an honorary member of my wish list. This section was probably the hardest to start with, just because these are the kinds of books that I read when I was a kid, so books like Eragon and Twilight and Hunger Games, all those things are over here, so I've read those, So I'm looking right now at the Shadowmere series, and I probably will not ask for the whole series, but I am going to ask at least for Shadowmere, which the individual book is probably on a table up front somewhere, but have to add that one to the list. Controversial book opinion incoming. I've moved to this other part of YA, sci-fi, and fantasy, and found a bunch of the other huge books people talk about all the time. So I read the descriptions for The Cruel Prince. Just simply didn't sound interesting to me. I read the description of Six of Crows, also just didn't really sound interesting to me. Read the description for The Red Queen, didn't really sound interesting to me. And I feel bad because I know people love these books with their whole hearts, but they just I don't know, they don't really sound that interesting. I don't know, maybe I just need to pick one up to understand why people love it, but I feel like I'm not there right now. These books have super cool covers. Okay, looking at my first table, and I can already tell there's gonna be a lot of books on here that I want. So first, Good Girl, Bad Blood. I did read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, so the second one feels natural for me to add. And then also the Hawthorne Legacy. I did read the Inheritance Games, so this is next. See if there's anything else on here. This looks creepy. What's this about? I think I'll add this one to my list as well. Okay, 3 books from this table. Pretty solid. We're in YA fiction now. So, I think the first book I'm going to add is If He Had Been With Me by Laura Nowlin. I know people love this, and it sounds really interesting, so definitely going to add that one, as well as Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, but that's been on my list of books to buy for literally ever. Also just panicked because I didn't have my Starbucks. I left it over here in sci-fi and fantasy. Good thing no one else is here today. There were a couple more books on this first shelf that I've been recommended that I'm going to add. The first is Prime and Premeditation by Tisra Price, and I'm sure that eventually I'll want Sense and Second Degree Murder too, but not yet. And then also Aristotle and Dante Discover the Secrets of the Universe. My best friend read this, said it was one of his favorite books ever, so I obviously have to add this to my list too. Okay, 2 more books in this aisle, and then we're moving over. First is 36 Questions That Changed My Mind About You by Vicki Grant. This is about people doing that, like, game where you ask each other questions and try to fall in love. But it's supposed to be funny, so it's that. And then None Shall Sleep by Ellie Marney. People love this book. Sounds good. I think I'll love this book, so this one too. I finished the romance section. We have 5 physical books, and then I have 1 more in my head that I want. But starting with Love in the Time of Serial Killers, I already owned this and actually annotated it and sent it to my best friend, and it's one of my favorite books of the year, so I want my own copy. Next one is Addicted to You. I posted a TikTok yesterday about the fact that I hadn't read it yet, and people were like, oh my god, buy it, read it now, so that's why that's there. And then Booked on a Feeling. This sounds like it's going to be a lot like Book Lovers, honestly, so I am going to add this to my list. I also love, it's just like a cute, like, pink cover, which is always beautiful to have on your shelf. Oh my god. And then I have If the Shoe Fits by Julie Murphy. I actually saw this book on an ad on a Disney, like a Walt Disney World bus, and I thought it looked good, although this copy is massive in comparison to like normal size books, so hopefully whoever buys it for me can find a normal size of it. And then the last one is The Makeup Test by Jenny Howe. I know somebody with this name, so that's funny, but also it's set in academia. Any book set in academia, I'm automatically going to read, so this is getting added to the list. The last romance book that I want, that I didn't mention, is Regretting You by Colleen Hoover. I have already read it, I just want a copy on my shelf, and every single time I've come to Barnes to buy it, they've been sold out. Also, I just looked through the horror section, really just not my thing. No books from there being added. Okay, just 2 thrillers. First is I Told You This Would Happen by Elaine Murphy. It's about a serial killer. It sounds super interesting. And then the second is The Geometry of Holding Hands by Alexander McCall Smith. I honestly read to the word Edinburgh in the description, and that was it. So it sounds like the Inheritance Games, but set in Scotland. So we'll see. Okay, 1 more book from the mystery section. Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney. If you watch Sarah Curley, you know I have to put this on the list. I just have to. And then one that is not physically over here, but I also want to add, is The House Across the Lake by Riley Seeger, because that looks really good to me. I've recently read Milk and Honey, so I'm going to add The Sun and Her Flowers to my list as well. Although this I might actually want the hardcover of, because this is gorgeous. Wow, beautiful. As much as I want to ask for like Emma, Mansfield Park, maybe even Sense and Sensibility, I'm scared that they wouldn't get me these covers, and I already started with the like cute classics with this Jane Eyre book that I have on my shelf. So I'm not gonna put these on because I don't want to risk getting like the wrong copy of it, but they are on my list of things to buy. The hair has gone up because that's how serious it's gotten, but I would like to title this section of the vlog, Tell Me You Watched Jack Edwards Without Telling Me You Watched Jack Edwards. Here are my books from the fiction section. Number 1 is The Night Circus by Erin Morgenstern. I feel like everybody talks about this. It sounds really good. Number 2 is Rachel to the Rescue by Eleanor Lipman, which I actually have never heard anybody talk about, but it sounds really funny. It's about a girl who Donald Trump just fired, and then she like gets hit by a car, which just sounds funny. And then here's the Jack Edwards section. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. My Dark Vanessa by Kate Elizabeth Russell. And lastly, On Earth We're Briefly Gorgeous by Ocean Vuong. So that is my picks from the fiction section. Okay, 2 more books for the list. 1 is Recipe for a Perfect Wife by Karma Brown. I think that this looks really good. I've also heard people say it's really good, so I do want to read that. And then also Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm not even going to try on the pronunciation because I know I'm going to butcher it, but I do want to read this as well. Alright, this Dark Academia table is basically just my TBR, but Bunny by Mona Awad is getting added to my list. I bet you could guess that, as well as Sometimes I Lie by Alice Feeney, because this one sounds really good as well. Last book coming to you from the banned books table. I want to read City of Thieves by David Benioff. It's a historical fiction book, but it sounds really good. I want my list to be an even 40 books, so we're going into a second Barnes & Noble to see if they have anything else I can add, because right now I think I'm at 32. They've reorganized since I was last in here 2 days ago. This is my worst nightmare. I have no idea where anything is now. I do really want to read The First to Die at the End because I think it sounds really interesting, but I like this hardcover being this thick, I can't do it. So I'm just gonna wait until it comes out as a paperback. Finally, a book to add. We Are the Brennans by Tracy Lange. It looks super good. And it's based in New York, well, on the East Coast, so I love those books the most. I feel like this book seems like it's pretty similar to Normal People, but I did like Normal People, so I'm going to add Conversations with Friends. And then I don't think I have my own copy of Normal People. I'm going to check when I get home, but if I don't, I'm going to add that to my list too. I did not know that this show was based on a book, and it's one of my favorite TV shows ever. So I'm definitely adding this to the list. This one's a little random, but I'm gonna add The Author's Checklist by Elizabeth Cracked to my list. I am attempting to write a book right now, so I think that something like this will be really useful. Okay, the next book I'm adding is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. I've been seeing this for so long, and I feel like after reading Beauty and the Baller, it's just like time to read this. And then I'm also going to add The American Roommate Experiment by Elena Armas, because a lot of people seem to like this book, and I'm a trend follower, so. Okay, this book I've read is similar to The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, which was one of my favorite books this year, so I'm also going to add Shipped by Angie Hockman, and I think this is going to be the last book that we add from Barnes & Noble. Okay, so the reason I specifically said that that was the last book for Barnes & Noble is because there is one more book that I want. It's been on my list of books to buy for a long time, but Barnes doesn't sell it. And it's I Fell in Love with Hope by Lynn Colley. I don't know if I'll be able to add this to my Amazon wish list, but I do really want that book. So yes, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. My wish list will be down below in case you are looking to find any of these books super easily. Yeah, thank you for watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.